What's going on, guys? This is Raymond Iron by McKinney, and today I want to talk about one of Neville Goddard's chapters. It's in one of his chapters called "Prayer: The Art of Believing." It's chapter 5. It's called the Law of Thought Transmission, and he's basically demonstrating and explaining how thoughts, our world is made of energy, vibrate on different, on relative frequencies, and how we affect each other energetically through those vibrational frequencies. And so I'm just kind of going to give you a little brief description of what he's talking about. How, like, when we think of someone and then they say text us out of nowhere, or we see them on the street, who knows how they're going to show up or when they're going to show up. But this is really cool stuff to talk about. So I'm going to share with you. It does not matter what is you seek in prayer, or where it is, or whom it concerns. You have nothing to do but convince yourself of the truth of that which you desire to be manifested. When you emerge from prayer, you no longer seek, for you have, if you have prayed correctly, subconsciously assumed the reality of the state sought. And by the law of reversibility, your subconscious must objectify what it affirms. And now this is when you assume correctly, when you impress the subconscious mind properly. You must have a conductor to transmit a force. You may employ a wire, a jet of water, a current of air, a ray of light, or any intermediary whatsoever. The principle of the photophone, or the transmission of the voice by light, will help you understand thought transmission, or the sending of a word to heal another. There's a strong analogy between a spoken voice and a mental voice. To think is to speak low. To speak is to think aloud. The principle of the photophone is this. A ray of light is reflected by a mirror and projected to a receiver at a distant point. Back of the mirror is a mouthpiece. By speaking to the mouthpiece, you cause the mirror to vibrate. A vibrating mirror modifies the light reflected on it. The modified light has your speech to carry, not as speech, but as represented in its mechanical correlate. So there's physics going on here, guys. It reaches the distant station and impinges on the disc within the receiver. It causes the disc to vibrate according to the modification it undergoes, and it reproduces your voice. I am the light of the world. I am the knowledge that I exist. Is the light by means of which that passes in my mind is rendered visible. Memory, or my ability to mentally see what is objectively present, proves that my mind is a mirror. So sensitive a mirror that it can reflect a thought. Perception of an image in memory in no way differs as a visual act from the perception of my image in a mirror. The same principle of seeing is involved in both. Your consciousness is a light reflected on the mirror of your mind and projected in space to the one of whom you think. By mentally speaking to the subjective image in your mind, you cause the mirror in your mind to vibrate. Your vibrating mind modifies the light of consciousness reflected on it. The modified light of consciousness reaches the one toward whom it is directed and impinges on the mirror of his or her mind. It causes the mind to vibrate according to the modification it undergoes. Thus, it reproduces in him what was mentally affirmed by you. So, and he's basically summarizing here that your beliefs, your fixed attitudes of mind, constantly modify your consciousness as reflected on the mirror of your mind. Your consciousness, modified by your beliefs, objectifies itself in the conditions of your world. To change the world, you must first change the conception of it. To change any person, You must change the conception of your conception of it. Or let's see. To change your world, you must first change your conception of it. To change a man, you must change your conception of him. In other words, change the way you see that person. You must first believe him to be the man you want him to be and mentally talk to him as though it were. All men are sufficiently sensitive to reproduce your beliefs of them. Therefore, if your word is not reproduced visibly in him toward whom it is sent, the cause is to be found in you, not in the subject. As soon as you believe in the truth of the state affirmed, results follow. Everyone can be transformed. Every thought can be transmitted. Every thought can be visibly embodied. So what I was describing there, guys, Neville was describing that our thoughts, thought transmission, or if you want to go a step further, the law of assumption, how you talk to yourself. Say if you hear someone's voice, there's physics that's going behind this. It's not like this woo-woo, way of thinking. Not like this hippie way of thinking. He's talking about physics. Just like Einstein's, one of his quotes, everything is energy. Match the frequency of that desire, or whatever, that state of consciousness. Match that frequency. Think from that frequency as if you're already in that state of consciousness. And you cannot help but get that matching frequency. There can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. So guys, you as the conscious creator, science and spirituality definitely coexist. All physics is here. All science is here. It's just a matter of faithfully sticking to that assumption. That's all yours. Everything exists in the infinite, eternal now. We affect each other. We affect the vibrational frequencies based on our inner assumptions. That quote he was just talking about, where we assume, where we have inner conversations with ourselves, it affects the particles outside of us, and therefore it affects the thoughts of others. When you assume about yourself, hearing someone else's voice, and they have the idea of nowhere that they want to contact you or something, that's when the magic happens. This is physics, guys. This is not some. This is science. I approached Neville Goddard, and he described it so beautifully, just very scientifically, and because again, everything's vibration. Everything vibrates on a particular frequency, and everything's energy. It can never be destroyed or created. We affect each other, guys. We are all energy. We give energy to what we put our attention on. It's as simple. Assume the feeling as if you're already that person in that relationship with others, that significant other, business, career, health, anything. Whatever you implant, and mentally assume true and to feel it true. And when you impress it up on your deeper mind, it must objectify. It must, in accordance with whatever you mentally assume true, and to hold to that faith. It could literally happen the next day. It could happen right now. You don't know. Your rational self doesn't know. It only selects. But your deeper mind takes all the action. When I move my arm like this, that's my deeper mind. My rational mind commands it to move my arm. I cannot do this. I cannot move my finger like this without a desire to move it. Your mind is that powerful, guys. It's that powerful. You're not only affecting your body with your mind, but you're affecting the world outside of you. We're all energy. We're all interconnected. And this is physics on a deep, infinite level. So I hope this video helps, and I bless you all, and happy manifesting. Use this to your advantage. Go create. You are a god or a goddess.